Okay, tonight I'm going to try to nap some obsidian. I don't know what to call it because it's just like mahogany obsidian, right? This is black though. It's like black mahogany, I guess. See how it has the two-tone? This is part of the original spall. It had a bit of this mahogany obsidian in it. It all naps like mahogany obsidian, but it's black. I guess you could call it black butter dacite, but it does not nap like dacite. All right, so I'm going to try it today. I tried one earlier. I tried a little flake earlier, and it's, yeah, just like mahogany obsidian. Now this particular flake has a lot of issues, lots of cracks. I have some more. So if I run into an issue, I can just grab another piece. Let's see how it goes. This was given to me. This is not from my stash. This was given to me at the last nap-in I was at. It was just spalled out roughly, but the person that had the original nodule couldn't use these pieces. They were just too big, too thick, and too many issues. So I was asked if I wanted it, and I said sure. Yep, I'll try it. It also has ash pockets in it. Yeah. Which makes for an interesting challenge. Those ash pockets do not go all the way through. Luckily, they're just localized. They're not that big. As far as I can tell, I had one in the other flake that I was napping earlier. That test flake I was napping. Mahogany obsidian has a very strange consistency to it. It's almost like a plastic. I think I might have mentioned that already. I mean, it feels like plastic, but it naps like glass, except it feels softer. Now, I have napped mahogany obsidian on video, and I can make really thin arrowheads out of it. I normally don't nap big pieces of it because it snaps in half very easily. So I'd rather just make small arrowheads out of it. If I snap it in half, I'm not wasting a lot of material. If it's a small piece. I have made fairly large blades out of mahogany obsidian, 6 inches long or longer. If I have a big spall. I don't have any big spalls this time. I think I brought out the biggest one I had just a second ago. Anyways, just like napping anything else, but it's a lot more delicate. It's like napping anything else as far as the grinding and the angles and all that. They don't change all that much. It does change, I guess, a little bit with glass. I end up grinding a lot more with glass, but with this stuff I don't grind it too much. Flakes extremely easily. And I can use these little pieces for arrowheads in the future. Yep. Some of my favorite stuff. This stuff is some of my favorite. I do like it. That's why I was kind of excited that I had some of this available to nap. I was looking through my stuff yesterday or the day before, and I said, wait a second, I've got some really good material. I forgot that I said, yeah, I'll take that. See, this stuff is not translucent, so if it gets under the skin, it's easily picked out. You know, it doesn't really blend in with your skin. It stands out. It's not see-through. It stands out, like I said. And the shards aren't too bad from this stuff. They are still extremely sharp, but they're not as bad as glass, in my opinion. Now let's see. Hopefully that ash pocket isn't too bad. Right now I'm just trying to get it flat, and I'm going to have to pay attention very closely here very shortly. I'm going to have to pay close attention to how I'm going to get rid of this problem area right here with an incipient crack and this ash pocket. And maybe there's a crack right there. I'll have to deal with that one.
Have him off. I'm saving him off.
Okay, so let's see. Yeah, I can still hit it with the billet, I think, without too much of an issue. Yeah, I still see that crack in there. Let's see if I can get under it. It's still in there. It's a weird one. Yeah, this piece is very wonky. I was not paying close attention in the beginning, so I think I made a little bit of a mistake by not paying attention to this early on. But we'll see. It's Saturday, so everybody's having fun tonight, right? I think it's Saturday. Yep. Ouch. I had a feeling that would happen. That hurt. I was going to switch over to indirect percussion, but I guess it's because there was a crack in here that opened up. There was a crack here on the side that opened up. In there somewhere. For some reason it doesn't want to focus tonight. All right. So yeah, that's going to be the danger going forward with this thing. Is the unexpected breakages. I guess I'm going to have to make a California type or an Oregon type of point. We'll see. All right, so I think I can still get away with some percussion to get rid of those thick spots. Let's see. It just naps so easily and it's so tempting to use percussion. Yeah, that's the problem. Yeah, that's a real problem.
Peace and love. Peace and love.
Oh my goodness.
Walking us out.
I need some cold air. Don't let Cece know.
Could you make me an arrowhead?
It'll take a little while.
It's a lot of work.
I'll get my my girlfriend by shooting an arrow at her.
What? Now he's good. Now he's Cupid.
Cupid, yeah, come on. I'll just shoot it straight in the air and be like, alright.
Yo.
Water burger! Yeah, that's what I call burgers.
So that got very, very small. Let's see. I'm tempted to start over again, but I'll just finish with this piece. I'm not worried about what I'm going to end up with. I wasn't planning on anything. If I can get past that ash pocket.
I got the cat.
No, no, no.
It looks like there's two here. One there. One here and one right there.
Take care, Patrick.
Okay, thank you. You too. See you later. You wanted to dive in right there. That's not good. So far, so good, I think. Except for that one diving flake. Yeah, that's a strange crack in there. But it seems to be typical of this particular nodule. I'm going to see if I can nap around it. Although it could open up at any time and crack the whole thing. Might end up with something kind of lopsided just because of the unexpected cracks and stuff. I don't want to get it too thin right now. Not until I'm sure it's not going to have any other issues. I do have to remove that crack before I get it thinner. I'm just going to go with the flow right now. I'm using aluminum because steel will probably increase the possibility of those nasty incipient fractures. Yeah, the flakes run really well on this stuff. This is great for pressure flaking, guys. Guys that like to do pressure flaking. Percussion is more dicey on this stuff. Yeah, it's just like mahogany obsidian. Same issues. You think it's going to work well, and then it seems to be really tough, and then you use a lot of force and you find out how delicate it is. But if you can get a piece out of it that doesn't have any step fractures, it looks really nice. What did I do? I just dropped it on another piece of obsidian and I broke it. Yeah. It just fell on another piece of obsidian. It wasn't even a piece of metal. It was this little chunk here. That's how easy it snapped. I can still get a couple of arrowheads out of that later, but that's unfortunate. I'm I'm gonna try this bigger piece. I didn't like that other piece anyway. Right? Right. Okay, let's see. That was unfortunate. I gotta make sure I don't have anything down here I can drop this on. I got another blade here. I think this is some kind of banded obsidian. Might work on that a little bit later. And I think I'm gonna knap one of these rough nodules as a rock challenge. Yeah, looks pretty bad. I didn't think it would present a problem by having those sitting down there. I'm able to drive some fairly good flakes with the abrader on this stuff. Yeah. Yeah, it's very weird stuff. That's an incipient bulb right there. It's a fracture incipient bulb from the original spall, the platform on the original spall. Yeah, this stuff is very shattery. Okay, so this looks all right. I don't see any major issues yet. I don't even see an ash pocket. There's a little tiny one right there. But not like the other one. It's just got some weird contours. That's about it. Yeah, it's very smooth, so the flaker does not grip. Not even with the aluminum. The aluminum is not gripping on this stuff. Which kind of worries me because when it doesn't grip, it has a tendency to just smash its way through as the only way it'll work. But smashing leads to incipient fractures, which leads to breaking in half or breaking the tip off or something. Yeah, flakes run really far on this kind of stuff. Yeah, I'm taking chances with it. By doing something like that. Yeah, and the issue with the diving flakes, I think that's going to be my main issue with this stuff. It's going to be hard sometimes to run a long flake if it's going to want to dive in. That's not good. Yeah, this flaker is kind of short, that's why it jumped out. I need to put an extension on the back of this so that I can hold it better behind my knee. But I've been using this technique for years now. I'm the one that came up with it, so I'm pretty used to it by now. I can make it work for the time being without the extension on there. I just had a guy ask me if I had any other method that a disabled napper could use. He's not able to hold the flaker behind the knee. I said, yep, I got a video on that, or at least one where I use a strap to hold the flaker. I call it a Kelly strap because my friend Kelly is the one that was using that method. He came over to visit me and he couldn't hold the flaker behind his knee, so he just used a strap to hold the flaker. I said, that's pretty good. I'll make a video. I'll make a video about it. That's a 6-year-old video. Yep. You can just look up Jack Crafty Kelly strap. Kelly. Kelly. All right. And my friend's name is Kelly. He's a guy and his name's Kelly. Okay. Just in case there's any confusion there. Now, is that an incipient crack or is that an original weirdness? I think I might have just installed that right now. It's too much of a coincidence for it to be right there before I hit it. A defect in the stone, that's not a defect in the stone, that's just, it looks like the way it fractured when I hit it. Yeah. I'm not going to be able to hit inwards very well on this stuff. Yeah, inward force causes these weird cracks. I'll show you in a minute. Well, I'll show you when it pops up. I'll try to make sure I mention it. I'm already seeing that I'm going to have issues with this kind of crack. I think I need to nap a whole bunch more of this before I'm used to it. I don't think I'm attacking this in the right way. Or I should say, in the best way. I'm thinking I'm getting good angles, but I'm not. And I'm forgetting that it likes to dive in. I'm forgetting that it likes to dive. That's its favorite thing other than cracking like this. Yeah. Yeah, these types of cracks. That's going to be a problem. Yeah, I just got to remove this lump here and I'm mostly straight. So that's what I'm going to be doing here. I got to really focus. I can't really talk too much. I haven't napped enough of this stuff to be comfortable with it. It's beautiful stuff. I like it a lot. Just the feel of it's really cool. And I cannot use much inward force with it, which is going to be an issue. It is going to be a bit of an issue. I think I'm going to probably have to isolate the platforms even more than I normally would. Even more than I normally would if I'm paying attention to isolating the platforms. These are going to have to be extra specially isolated, if you know what I mean. I'm going to have to learn what contour is best so I don't have those radial cracks. A downward strike works really well. There is an internal crack here. See that? It's a natural internal crack that causes a step fracture here. Hopefully that doesn't run deep. I don't see it on the other side. I do see some layers in it. They're going this way. I don't think those are an issue, but they could be. I've had obsidian with layers in it act up on me before. Normally it's not much of a problem because obsidian is so easy to nap. But once in a while those layers will open up. Especially as it starts getting thin. Yeah, see, it wants to do a radial crack right in the middle. See that? It shot over this way and it shot that way. I think I might have to sharpen this. Hold on. Make it more pointy so that there's not much surface area making contact with the material. That way it doesn't produce a flake that goes this way and that way. I think that might be a good solution. Keep the percussion flaker sharp. Yeah, okay. I think that'll work. Yeah, there's no No radial crack that time. Okay. Sharp flakers. Okay. That works. Nice and smooth. Nice smooth flake scars. I just got to make sure I remember to sharpen the tips of these flakers. Yeah, I still get a little bit of an issue, but I think it's because I'm near the cortex. Can't get a good grip on the material. It's slippery, so I'm just gonna try to hold it in place as best I can, because this slides everywhere. It's not that bad, but it does slide. Yeah, that's just a uralier flake. That's not an incipient radial fracture. Yeah, with a sharp tip on the flaker, I got rid of the radial fracture. Okay. I can do that with other materials too, but sometimes when I do that, the flakes end up being too narrow, which is okay for some point styles, but I like wide flakes, not the narrow ones like this. And that one wanted to dive in, but luckily it didn't. It's supposed to feather out, but it's not doing it. Yeah, beautiful. Beautiful fracture on that one. Okay, so I gotta be careful I don't thin it too much in the middle. I want some strength on this while I'm trying to shape it. Ouch. A little bit too much. It's starting to get flat. I got to be very careful about not hitting the ends at the late stages. I got to get the ends thin early. Because if I do it late stage, I could snap the whole thing in half. I got to get the ends thin early. I got a feeling this is not going to be easy to sharpen. But, you know, the sharp pointed flaker might do the trick for sharpening also. Not just for the percussion, but for the pressure flaking. It's weird. The way it's fracturing is weird. Okay. It's weird because the flakes are not spreading out like I'm used to. Some of them are going narrow. And not just because of the pointed flaker. With this material, I think it follows ridges much more easily. I think the flakes are following ridges much more easily with this material. With some other materials, it doesn't really matter to the flake. The flake just goes almost anywhere. I have cortex on this side, so I got to be careful. if it has a weirdness to it, like a lot of Cortex on this stuff, it'll crack in weird ways. I gotta remove the Cortex, but I don't want the tip to curve downward. So I have to remove material from underneath that area first before I flake across the top. Although pressure flaking can probably get rid of that, it's still kind of dicey. Dicey to attempt pressure flaking because you could end up just step fracturing, where if I do the percussion won't have as much step fracturing. Why? Because percussion blasts through a lot of obstacles. It has the potential to blast through a lot of obstacles. Whereas pressure is a little more finicky. As far as obstacles go, it doesn't really like to blast through the obstacles. Because the flakes it removes is... the flakes that a pressure flaker removes are very thin. Yeah, that's what I mean by weird fracturing. It has, I don't know, with this material I can't tell if I just installed that crack or if it was there to begin with. I don't need to hit really hard with this stuff either. I don't know if I mentioned that, but the hits on this are not hard at all. Not even that big fat one there that wasn't a hard hit. It was much harder than a lot of these other hits, but it wasn't that hard. This stuff is not fatiguing physically, it's just fatiguing mentally. I'm having to think a lot on this particular piece. Yeah, that's the thing I don't want to do either. I don't want to take a bite out of there. Okay. One little issue after another. Gotta watch out for those bites too. That's not good. Not good. And then right when you think it's going to be easy to nap and you figured it out, it resists and does a nap. Like right there. It made me work for those flakes like it wasn't making me work before. And there's an ash pocket right there. That could rear its ugly head. We'll see. Maybe it'll help if I abrade the surface of the striking area. So it doesn't bounce around as much or slide around as much. See that? I abraded the front of it or the surface of it. Let's see. That was a hard hit. What did it do? It took a bite out of it, which is unfortunate again. But I don't see any incipient radial cracks. I followed through on that strike more than the other ones. A lot of times I don't need to follow through, but you know, I just come to a stop, you know, without much effort. I just come to a stop because that's the extent of my flexibility. But if I intentionally follow through, these flakes may end up traveling further. Let's see. That thinning flake there still has a dive crack in it, so hopefully that dive crack is not too deep. That one was an attempt to blow through a lot of that, but it didn't really do it. I can get it from the other side, but since it's so easy to nap, I was thinking I could just blow through that with a good flake. All right, let's see. Yeah, I'm making sure I don't hit really hard. Luckily, that was just barely hard enough to do it. Luckily, it's so nice when it does flake that well. I wish it would do that every time. Right? Right. Yes, yes, yes. Let's see. Am I getting any... I gotta watch the pitting on that. If I get too much pitting and roughness, it doesn't make solid contact with the striking surface, and I end up not getting a long flake. I was saying earlier that long flakes on this stuff want to dive. They are wanting to dive, and I don't want to add any other complication to that tendency. They are wanting to dive in. See, it wants to dive in instead of popping out. See, it came in from the back of that step fracture, and it should just feather out, but it wants to dive when it hits an obstacle. So I got to watch it. On these longer flakes, it could overshoot easily. And if there's any weirdness in the tip, the flake's going to be even weirder. Yeah, that's better. That feathered out a little bit better. Yep. I'm getting to the point where it's getting too thin already. I'm not really liking the risk at this thinness, but I got to do damage control on the center. That one should have went, but my luck, as my luck would have it, that one didn't go all the way. I'm gonna have to come in from the other side and do all kinds of risky moves. Yeah. I'm blowing away a lot of the edge just by abrading it. So yeah, I would need about 100 pounds of this stuff to get fully used to it, not 1 pound. I got about a pound of it, maybe 2 at the most. That's good. If it does that again, if it rides that ridge again on the next strike, I'll be able to get that area. I'm not going to pay too much attention to the contours of the edges right now. I just want to get to the center. All right. Good enough. I'm not going to try to be perfect with it. And I'm not sure. I think this stuff does come out of Mexico, right? Or Oregon does have it also. Mahogany, I know mahogany obsidian, some of it comes out of Mexico, but I don't know about this stuff. The reason why I mentioned that is because there was a guy on our trip to Mexico, or to the pyramids in Chichen Itza. There was a tour guide that had a real artifact made of black obsidian, non-translucent, that looked just like this. The material felt just like it, and you know, he passed it around on the bus, and he says this is a real knife. It was a little bit banged up and kind of dull, but you could tell anyway. It was thick, about this thick, thicker than I thought it would be. Because I figured they would make their blades thinner, since it's so easy to make these things thin with obsidian. But no, it was a kind of a thick biface. Yeah, instead of feathering, it wants to dive under the obstacles. That's the issue. I'm going to have to, I don't know if I want to clear off that original surface because it may give me some trouble. I'm going to have to repair the edge with some pressure flaking if I want a perfect edge. You know what I mean? I'm going to have to do the edge work in preparation for this next strike if I want a perfect strike. All right, let's see. Okay, with this operation, I'm going to need two gloves. Whenever I pressure flake a dacite or obsidian of any type or glass, I always get flakes between my finger and the flaker and between my hand and my leg. Always. I don't know what it is. And again, I'm waiting until late at night to do the flint knapping. So it's difficult. I figured, it's not gonna be that hard with this black butter stuff. How difficult can it be? It flakes so easily. Just got to get used to it, and once you get used to it, just run flakes, no problems. No problem. Just downward pressure, creating a bevel, making it nice, or as nice as I can. Not spending too much time on it. because when I do that, I just overthink it. And the flakes don't run the way I want them to if I overthink it. If they run at all. Every time I look at the screen, it's blurry, so hopefully it's not. Let's see. All right, did that run the way I wanted it to? Yeah, pretty much. That's not too bad. Okay. That one did not run the way I wanted it. And I have a central radial crack in there. Let's see if it did it. It did it. Alrighty. And no central radial crack. Very nice. Okay. So as long as I don't mess the rest of it up. I already messed it up there early on, like in the very first few minutes. Let's see if I can remove that. Yeah, the base is a little thick. Yep. I didn't thin it in the beginning enough. As long as I don't hit directly into the blade that way, I should be safe. Safe from snapping. We'll see. I'm going out that way a little bit to thin it down. That puts a little bit of a different torque on it. Yeah, if I hit out this way, it puts a little bit of a different torque on it. It's not really bending it in the middle, it's kind of twisting it. Twisting it like this and not bending in the middle. I don't know if that illustration was explaining anything, but you know, I think you know what I mean. I'm going to hold the whole blade here like this while I hit this. Just in case. And I never know, right? You never know if it actually works or not. Holding the blade like this. Because you won't know unless it doesn't work. That's a lot of flint napping. You don't know if something is working, but you know when something doesn't work. So you learn from your mistakes more than from your successes. In flint napping. In other things, not so much. You learn from successes what works, but a lot of times in flint napping, you learn from what doesn't work, and you avoid the things that don't work. Because there's so many things that don't work. So many different things that could go wrong. Why am I working on the edge right now? Because I see lumps, right? I tend to go down the edge looking for lumps. Once I start going down the edge a little bit, I just continue all the way, but I don't know. I do need to thin the tip also. It's a habit. Tip, base, tip, base. I got to thin them both down. I got the base a little bit thinner, but I'm going to work on the tip too. That's nice. All right, so here we go. What else on the base? Still have some cortex here. Yeah, I wish there was more side views of the Aztec blades, because when I went down to the Chichen Itza ruins, all the blades that I saw, I only saw 3, I think, 2 or 3. They were thick, side view, the Obsidian blades. I think I saw 2. I need to check. If they are thick, I don't need to be worrying about getting this too thin. I'm not doing an Aztec blade, I'm just saying that making these thin may not be the way that they made them. So why go through the hassle and the trouble and the misery? Yeah. Now in California or in Oregon, maybe they did make them thin, but over there. I do have side views of those, of points from Oregon and California. They are usually pretty thin, but not always. Oops, come on. Don't slide off. I'm hitting downward this way, not straight in. Although, when it's right in the middle, it doesn't really matter how you hit, it's always going to be dicey. As long as you don't try to bite off too much. See, these are really, really paper thin flakes, or less. Yeah, that's paper thin right there. So there's not much energy being driven into the edge. And if I could take off a series and different layers of those really, really thin flakes, I can thin it down without worrying too much about the shock that could snap it in half. I'm still not too thrilled about that step fracture. See if I can pick it out. See how easy it is to pick it out. Well, I took out a big piece. Where is it? Is that it? No, that's not it. Anyway, I did manage to pop out that big piece there. It still looks pretty bad. Yeah. Let me see. I'm going to mess with the symmetry here for a little bit. Let me take a break here. I'll be right back. Okay, I'm back. Birthday party stuff. Oh, yes. So, this is actually now looking thinner than it was when I left. But the reason why I'm messing with the symmetry here is so that I can shoot more flakes in. Yeah, I got to beef up this edge and then send in more flakes to try to get rid of that step fracture. And then after that, I'm home free. I don't think I'm going to have to remove that original surface. I'll just leave a lot of that in. Yeah, that hurt. That original little experiment in the beginning when I took off a flake right there, I was a little too aggressive. Yep. Alright, so now I gotta pick at the edge with the pressure flaker to make the edge just right. And what is just right? Whatever seems to work, you know, that 60-degree angle. The angle is always going to default to about the same, no matter what it is, pressure or percussion, soft hammer or hard hammer. You always start out with a baseline of about 60 or 70 degrees and then adjust from there. Course correct from that baseline. You know, if it seems like it needs a thicker edge, grind it some more. If it looks like it might need a steeper angle, make the angle a little steeper. You know, just course correct from the baseline of, I'd say, 60 degrees. And in case you're just tuning in, I'm talking about the angle of the edge. The surface next to the edge. You know, I'll use the term surface of the edge and the edge as the same thing, but it's actually the surface adjacent to the edge. The edge is the sharp part. But I use the terms interchangeably when I say the surface of the edge or the striking surface or the edge. It's all the same thing, basically. I should differentiate it so you know exactly what I'm talking about. So I'll try to remember that. You know, when I'm flint napping and not talking about it, I don't think of it in terms of the correct terminology. I just know where to hit. I know what surfaces to create. So that, I was trying to capture that side of the step fracture with this flake, and I did a little bit. I'm going to run another flake and try to capture the rest of that, and then over here on this side I'm going to run the flake down this way. So hopefully I'll be able to remove the line of that step fracture. I'm going to isolate it a little bit. I'm going to isolate the striking area a little bit. That was supposed to work better. I was supposed to create a ridge, continuous ridge this way to, you know, all the way to the edge, but it did not work that way. It doesn't really matter too much, but it helps. This is not right. I gotta make the striking surface a little more steep. I don't need to hit that very hard at all to remove these flakes. These are just cosmetic flakes. I can leave that step fracture in and it won't hurt the overall point or the overall knife. Alright, so that ran okay. Let's see. Yeah. That's all right. That's the best I can hope for in that area. All right, so I'm just going to sharpen it a little bit. Now that I'm here, maybe. I can do that with a pressure flaker. Let's see. I don't want to do everything with the pressure flaker. And I could try to run these long flakes into those areas with a pressure flaker. But a pressure flaker does little bitty flakes. Come on. A pressure flaker does little bitty flakes. I want broad, bold flakes. Wide, bold flakes. I don't want those little bitty flakes. Now I'm going to run a flake down this way into this area, see if I can flatten that. Now I can try to pick at it first. Yeah, why don't I do that? Yeah, I'll pick at it first to see if I can reduce it a little bit so that the step is not so drastic. So there's less material to remove. See, if the flake traveling down has less material to remove, it tends to run better. And it doesn't want to stop. Let's see, come on. The smoother the surface, the less chance of the flake wanting to stop somewhere along that obstacle. Because this whole thing is an obstacle. If I angle it too much inward this way, half the flake will be on this side and half will be on the other side. And if it starts to encounter too much resistance, it'll stop. By taking it back more and angling it strike more this way, the edge of the flake now is going to take off that material. And if it's not much, hopefully it won't stop somewhere along the way. We'll see. When there's more to remove, the easier it is for the flake to stop somewhere. With less to remove, it may run all the way. Let's just hope. You know, sometimes you just gotta hit and hope, hit and pray. All right. I hit it pretty hard, just in case. You can kind of see that it looks all right. But I did take a bite out of it. Pretty substantial bite. But I think I can live with that. If it stays in there, I can live with it. I might be able to run one more flake from down here to clean that out. Yeah, but we'll see. Now I just got to make sure I clean out this lump here. See how it's thin there and thick here? I got to clean out this lump. Which shouldn't be too hard. Shouldn't. I will see. And that's part of the original surface I need to get rid of anyway, so that's good. That's good. No worries yet. I don't see any ash pockets or any weird cortex areas. I'm applying extremely little pressure because it's so easy to flake. The edge was already very thin. Abrade the surface a little bit. Yeah, I should be able to run flakes in there pretty easily. All right. I don't see much pitting, but let's just not take any chances. And not taking any chances with embedded flakes or embedded little chips. This will remove the embedded pieces if there are any. Alright, let's see. I do need to take some off of the tip as well, so let me abrade that area. Pressure flake it to make it better. And I gotta remember this material is very easy to break. Very easy to cause an error on the edge. Yeah, I didn't like the way that looked. Too rounded. I braided it too much. Yeah, if you braid it too much, it's gonna put too much force on it. You gotta be very careful. It's really thin. It's thin enough to break if I drop it, because I dropped the other piece and it broke just like that. So I gotta be careful with how thin it is, how much force I'm using, that sort of thing. Let's see. Okay, I feel like I want to take my gloves off so I can actually feel what's going on. But I don't want to cut myself this close to the auction because I got a lot of work to do tomorrow. All right, that's a hard hit. Let's see if it worked. Yes. Let's see it. I'm going to hit right in that little dropped down area right there. I could hit up there first, but I'm going to hit there and then clean it up later. Right. Turn. Just in case. Did it work? It didn't feel like it released. Yeah, it didn't go quite the way I was hoping. I was hoping it would be a lot bigger like this one. I was hoping it would be that big here, but it doesn't matter too much. I think I could still thin it down, yeah, pretty easily. I'm not going to shoot a flake from here yet. Oh wait, if I don't have to shoot a flake from there, I won't. What I'll do is I'll just sharpen that, get rid of the lump with pressure flaking and then sharpen it. I don't need to run another flake in the middle. If I can get that lump from the other side. Why the other side? Well, I got a weird area anyway I've got to take down, so I'm going to use that extra width there as a way to shoot in flakes. I got to move this tip to make it symmetrical. That tip's got to go that way a little bit. So that means this edge can be moved a little bit that way. I guess. Yeah. Braiding really removes a lot of material on this because it chips it. The abrader is actually chipping the edge as well as grinding it down. Just an opportunistic flake there because I can see a lump on the other side. Yeah, I'll take that down in a minute. I want to run a flake on this side. Alrighty. Okay, let's see if it did it. I think it did it. Yep. See if it did it. I think it did it. Yeah. I kind of like it. It's it got a little weird because there's an undetached portion up here. I can get that here in a second. All right. Let's see. Let's see if it did it. I just ran this flake here. Did it do it? Well, it didn't quite do it, but I popped it out anyway. See, what I ran this little flake to pop it out with just the flake, but it didn't. It stopped just short of it, so I popped it out. There's a line in here that looks like a crack, but I don't think it is a crack. It's just a layer in the dacite or the obsidian. That layer right there. See that little thing? I thought that was a crack. And there's another layer there, another layer there, one right there. Those look like cracks, and I was getting worried. I said, "Uh-oh, I think I might have cracked it." It's just a layer in the obsidian. Yeah, that's not a crack right there. That's a layer in the obsidian. Okay. All right, so it's thin enough to sharpen up into a preform. This step fracture there, this remnant, it's not too bad. It's still a little bit lumpy up here. I'll do a couple more flakes. A couple more unlumpificating flakes. And I'll unlumpify this. Yeah, I'm trying to be gentle with it, and it's not working. Here we go. Something happened there. I don't remember the tip being that wonky. It must have blown away some of it just now. Yeah, something was... Yeah, I don't remember the tip being that way. What did I just do? Took about 1/16 of an inch off the tip. Is that what I did? Yeah, I guess so. Okay, so let's just tiptoe through the tulips on removing lumps and sharpening. It's a delicate procedure, and then when I see an opportunity to remove the lump that I saw earlier, I'll take that opportunity. Yeah, so I'm just going to randomly go down this edge and remove what I think is lumpy, and then sharpen it. And then take back the edge so that I don't have that bite in there. Okay, come on. I just need a little cooperation. I don't need much. Oh, come on. Just a little cooperation. That's it. No, it's not going to do it. Am I going to have to do this whole thing with pressure? Unlumpify it and then sharpen it only with pressure? Yes? No? I don't know. See, I got a message. Hold on. Yeah, I got a message, but I don't know what it was. I'm not going to go look for it. See, this is different too. On my old phone, I could look at the message and it wouldn't turn off the camera, but now it turns off the camera. I guess it's one of the settings I can adjust as well. Do not turn off camera when looking at messages. Is that a setting? I suppose so. Better be. I don't like it when it turns off the camera by itself, because then if I forget to turn it back on, there's no video of what I'm doing. And I have to come back and say, I just filmed a section of this napping off camera by mistake, because it turns off when I get a message, when I try to look at my messages. Come on. This is when it gets me into trouble. It doesn't respond in the transition area. If you don't know what the transition area is, it's between the main blade and the tip. That's where I have issues. Come on. Why is it not flaking? You're doing well just a second ago. All right, you're not flaking at all. I get it. You were patient with me this long. Now you don't want to be an Arrowhead. I said, yeah. You said, yeah, I was patient. I was a good rock until now. I don't really want to be an Arrowhead, so I'm going to put up some resistance. Come on now. Oh, God. Come on. It's not wanting to do the little flakes. It's just little flakes. Don't make me readjust my strategy to hit really hard and then get it all wonky again. It's not how it's supposed to work at this stage. It's supposed to be easy from here on in. But if it's not going to flake the way I want it to. See, now that's interesting. Okay, come on. Come out of there. There it goes. Yeah, I'm going to have a little interesting little thing going on there. Yeah, that's one thing about Obsidian. He'll get you. See, there's a piece of glass now under my fingernail. It's in there. Yeah. I'll get it out later. Shouldn't have picked at that. You live and learn. Okay, come on. I shouldn't have picked out that piece of glass with my glove. That's what caused the little break. Because I didn't pull it out perfectly straight. Yeah, I'm getting tired. Maybe I should finish this up tomorrow. I am getting very tired and acting silly. Yeah, if I don't finish this while I'm well rested, who knows what could happen. Besides, I'm going to spend the next 5 minutes digging that piece of glass out. Let's see. Hold on. I can pressure flake it. Since it didn't want to cooperate with percussion at the tip, I can pressure flake this. Hopefully. One of the hardest things to do is sharpen obsidian. Yeah, believe it or not. Only the natural edge of the flake is sharp. If you try to sharpen obsidian, your results may vary. And they may vary from really sharp to really dull. One of the most effective ways to sharpen an obsidian edge is to serrate it. Put serrations in. But I prefer to dull it and pick at it. Dull and pick. Dull and pick. I can scratch it to dull it and then pick at it. Run opportunistic flakes. Let me see. Can I see what I'm doing? All right, let's take the glove off. I took the glove off so I could have a better feel for this. Yeah, it's better. And so I can manipulate the camera focus. It still doesn't want to do the tracking thing where it tracks a point on the point. Scratching it back and then pushing mostly inward. It doesn't work that great, but it works all right. It leaves a jaggedy edge, but at least it's sharp. You can be as persnickety as you want with it. You can be very persnickety and really pick at it little by little and make it as sharp as you like. The finer the flaking, the sharper it gets with this particular technique. Scratch it back and then push on it. Scratch it, push on it, scratch it, push on it. Some areas are already dull. Don't need to scratch if it's already dull. Just push on it. And you're on the surface. You're not setting the copper on, you're not digging the copper into the sharp edge. You're pushing it on, you're putting it on the surface and pushing downward and inward. But it's got to have that 60-degree angle in order to seat. Yeah, as long as you're not crushing it, it does get sharp. Trouble is, a lot of people end up crushing the edge. It should be little snaps. Yeah, snap, 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 snap. That's it. No crushing, no grinding, smashing, crushing sound. Just snap, snap, snap. It's crushed right there a little bit. You can tell with the white powdery surface that it crushed. If you see a white powdery area, that means it crushed right there. Looks like the tracker is working okay. Oh, I just slipped and I hit my knuckle on the edge. Yeah, I've hit myself there so many times that my skin is kind of thick right there, but it still got me. It is sharp. It's proof right there. Just barely nicked the edge. Yeah, just barely. Can't see it. Can you see? No? That's all right. I can't see either. Don't worry. Can't win. I can't see a light edge, a light material. I can't see the dark material either. See, I got a flake between my hand and the flaker. It pushes its way in. I stopped that one before it pushed its way in. That tracker goes away. It was tracking it, the focus, but it shuts off because I have to rearrange the object so the object tracker loses track. The tracker loses track of where I'm at. It's still working. Yeah, just can't see anything. Don't worry, if you can't see anything, that means I can't see anything. I'm just kind of going by feel right now. I think I'm pushing off dull areas. Anyway, that's enough for tonight. I can do better in the morning. Probably better with daylight. I gotta clean up this glass before somebody walks through here again. I hadn't had anyone walk through in several videos, and then the video I do glass on, everyone decides to walk through here asking for arrowheads and looking to see what I'm doing, going back and forth. Yeah, I don't get all this traffic with several people unless I'm doing glass. Yeah. And you know what? That's just the way it goes. I don't care. Don't care no more. Yep. just the way it goes. If I'm going to do glass, that means everyone's going to walk through here. Or well. Oh well. Thought I was home free. But no. I should put a sign out. Glass is flying. If you walk through, you will be dying. Maybe that'll work. Yeah, that'll work. Except they'll come over and say, what does that sign say? I can't get, let me get a little closer so I can see what the sign says. And what is it that I'm crushing under my feet? Well, it's glass. Can you read the sign now? Yeah, I can read it now, but there's something in my foot. Hold on. Yeah, that'll be my luck, for sure. I can sharpen the tip up a little bit more tomorrow in the sunlight. Make it super duper sharp. Super duper sharper. Yeah, I picked that really jaggedy, didn't I? Little minute flakes all the way down. So I thought I was being clever. This side with less flakes is sharper than that side. Well, I don't know. It's close. I can't tell. Yeah. Ooh, that is sharp. Yeah, they're both sharp. Oh yes. Okay, so good enough. Let's zoom out and see what we got. It's much smaller than you thought, huh? Yeah. I know you did think it was really big. Where's the darn tape measure? I bet you thought it was huge, you know? I didn't measure it to begin with, did I? It's 4 1/8. 4 1/4 maybe? Maybe. No, it's closer to 4 1/8. Yeah. By 1 7/8 or maybe a little bit less. 12, 13/16, 1 13/16. Millimeters is like 46, and the thickness is about a 7. Yeah, 7. So that's almost 7 to 1. 49 would be 7 to 1. So about 6 to 1. Between 6 to 1 and 7 to 1. On black butter type stuff. Some of the original spall surface right there in the middle, right where you would expect it to be. I hope you would expect it to be there. I didn't totally eliminate the mistake step fracture there, and I drove this one a little bit too intensely, trying to do too much with it, so it kind of stepped right there. Anyway, I'm not going to do anything else to it except maybe sharpen it a little bit better when there's daylight. You know, taper it a little bit better. Maybe, maybe not. Yeah, no major issues with the blade itself, so it's not going to break in half anywhere, I don't think. Yeah. It has a little bit of a dip right there with a lump here. I don't really feel like going in there and reducing that lump. I'd like to have the edge fully convex all the way to the tip. It makes it stronger at the tip. All right, there you go. That's it.